Next match is Eddie Guerrero
taking
on the US champion Ric Flair. You see those two names, Pete, and you know, well, this is going to be something.
Proper,
it's going to be proper. And out comes Flair. He's not going to go for this silly I'm a biker look. He comes out in white. And when he's walking along that dirt, he looked like God. He looked like God had landed in some dirty field.
What's going on here?
And was just, I am here to convert you all to the good path. And out he comes with Woman and Miss Elizabeth by his side, as they should be. That seems the right place to be.
Place.
And I did watch this, and time has made me very upset to see how the legacy of Ric Flair turned out. And all of the bad years that he spent, when he should have really hung up those boots. And I saw him here, and I was like, it's annoying, but I can forget that he, for me, is the greatest of all time. And just seeing him here, where he's at a period where people thought he was old.
Yeah.
And he has still got it all going on. And his ability to work a crowd. This crowd would have heard of Ric Flair, I think. There would have been knowledge of him. So it's not having an uphill climb where, you're ice trained. And what you get with Flair here is just him dipping into that little bag of tricks and going, even though he's positioning himself for this huge feud with the NWO, which they've set up earlier in the thing, he's like, this is Eddie Guerrero. I'm going to have some fun, and I'm going to appeal to this broad crowd in the best way I can. So he does this great bit of shoving at the start. Shoves Guerrero shoves him, he goes straight to the floor. Does it the same thing, it happens again. And this time he's so shaken up that he gets straight up and just pushes the ref, and then the ref pushes him back. I mean, just magic stuff that you just feel, again, one of the things that I love, that you feel has been done for 100 years, and it's always worked in front of a live crowd. And here's Flair looking at this and going, this crowd, they don't know wrestling. No. So what I'm going to give them stuff that they'll enjoy and that will get over. Very notably, he gets his bum out in this match as well. And Flair is so good because Flair is just a wrestler who isn't afraid to be silly. He's working with someone like Eddie Guerrero. He knows the quality of the match is going to be good. He's not, if you like, selling himself short by going, this is a disaster, get my bum out. No. He goes with Guerrero, they have a great match, and he sort of goes, this guy has earned my bum spot. Yeah. And down come the trunks, and the biker's like, woo-wee, oh boy, looks like we got ourselves some buttocks. And, just having fun. It's just a great match, just so good. The two of them, how could it be anything but great? And a little bit where they botch at the start, and both of them just sort of, rather than having a crowd as well, I think, at this time, who would have chanted you fucked up, which is just, the enemy of art. It's the enemy of art, that sort of criticism. Yeah. Instead, they roll with it. So Flair is holding his wrist, like, shitting hell. And Guerrero grabs his knee and goes to the outside, like, oh, shit, that hurt. And, you give them the time and they can fill those gaps. Yeah. They're great. The sun starts to set, and the two of them are just sort of like golden in that magic hour that they just get, which is just brill. And it has a sweet end as well, with Flair, grabbing on Woman, helping him, showing the bikers that a woman could do more than just
get hit.
Yeah, or get hit, or punched, be in a kitchen, or stand out on the Sturgis pavement, showing her raddled. Whappers, yeah.
Rotten
whappers. To a film crew from a wrestling company. Women have a role. That's what I'm saying.
What an inspirational allyship, Mark Haynes. It's at this point that Bobby the Red Heenan is really starting to cook.
It doesn't matter. The winner is Ric Flair.
He starts doing these long...
Heenan's got that classic thing as this show goes on, where he's been drinking something. Yeah. He's drinking something.
Hot Red Heenan. He thinks he can handle it, but it's starting to get hot. It's starting to sort of blow.
Someone's giving him moonshine or something, and he's necked a bit back, and the sun has just been beating down on his head.
So now he's starting to cool down. He's like, I can hear the grasshoppers. Yeah. Oh, dear.
He's very much, as this show develops, going, I mustn't let them see that I'm losing it. So what I will do is I will talk so much.
Oh, come on.
And no one will say, you're quiet. And it will just seem entirely normal.
I will stay right here. I got money. I had money. Whether I got it now, it don't matter. You've always had money. You've always made money. You were probably the biggest star in this business. Stop it.
By the main event, I mean, it's a disaster. You get those shots of the WCW guys doing their bike ride from the Mall of America. What could be more outlaw?
Mall of America. They're
Sturgis.
obsessed with the bloody Mall of America.
They love the Mall
Is
of
that
America.
when because they were using the Mall of America for Nitro, weren't they?
That's
for a
right,
bit?
yeah. And it was a huge cultural thing in the States when it opened. That journey takes 8 hours and 44 minutes.
Right.
Wouldn't do that on a fucking plane
No.
that long. 8 hours 44. That's like to go from like London nearly to LA.
And you will have all been eating pasta mania, so you'll be sleepy.
Absolutely. And go to horrible, hotels where you go to bed and the inside of your thighs feel like they're still shaking and jiggling, just awful. Steve McMichael's there with his little dog, Pepper.
Oh,
and
come on.
a little helmet.
Little helmet. It's not really a helmet that is protecting his head.
Won't protect him.
It won't protect him. If he falls off his little doggy bike, it will cleave the roof of his head off.
It will either dig in, and that will basically be a lobotomy. It could also slice off the front of his face.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's just a bit of fun.
It's just a bit of fun. It's just a bit of fun.
And Medusa's on a bike with an old woman that they don't
mention.
They don't mention, and it's that Medusa's like hookup. Everyone's got babes with them. They're partners.
She's gone for a very older, an older lady.
Old lady who also has taken the decision that when the camera's on, she will remain totally still. And it looks like a puppet.
It does.
A really realistic Rocco from the Legion of Doom. She's got on her bike. Just unsavoury.
Well, that woman will be dead, but what is she?
I presume that's her mum.
Do you reckon?
I think it's the sort of thing that when they go, hey, Deuce, you got to come on an 8-hour ride with the lads. I think you go, yes, I am bringing my mother. That is...
She'll sort you lot out.
That's safe, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is safe. But she looks very much like she's been stuffed.
Right, yeah.
In that bit.
But presumably if they're riding together, maybe they just take turns. Eric Bischoff is just looking at Medusa's arse behind, as discussed in the...
Just pathetic, isn't it? Imagine looking at anything for 8 hours and 44 minutes. That's like Forbidden Door. That's the length it was. Shocking. The Outsiders of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash take on Sting and Lex Luger. A slow pan up as well. They've got this pan in the same place. They do a slow pan up from this just grizzled weirdo staring at the camera, and it goes up. One of the ones they do is one where they go, it's a beautiful shot, brilliant, okay, do the pan up, and they pan up at the back of a biker, but he just suddenly gets a cigarette out and lights it, and they're like, couldn't have planned for that. Shit. This is the first time we're seeing them on pay-per-view since the NWO has formed. Kevin Nash is in all red, and I sort of associate that look really with the NWO Wolfpack, which happens in about 98, 99.
Yes.
Which is sort of it splitting and beginning to jump the shark. So it was a bit of a surprise to see him like this. Watching it, I was a bit like, this is bad Nash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not realising it was actually good Nash. Sting and Luger, weird sort of feeling here as well. It's funny to see a match where Sting in his team isn't the most over big star. Luger seems like he's suddenly just found a groove.
Really clicking. And Sting's never looked better. I just think maybe it's just his hair doesn't look right or something is weird. I don't know how you're able to have that kind of like straight up in the air kind of guile kind of like hair, like 1980s hair.
He looks like someone from EMF.
Yeah, and now he looks like sort of what John Cena's trying to do now with his hair and fairing.
Yeah, this thing, he comes out and he's made himself a bandana, but it's out of like a motorcycle t-shirt. And he sort of tied it round. I look at that and I just go, there's never been a point in the WWF where Vince McMahon would have gone, that is fine for you to go to that curtain wearing. Just absolutely.
Just make it mend and make do.
And his slight thing of, I want to appeal to them but I haven't planned anything, then don't appeal to them. It's awful. Luger is really sort of all business in this. And we get a lot of bike noise through this, and I was getting angry about that. I didn't like that. And this is one of those matches, I think, that probably lacks any of the excitement that you would have had when you were watching it live 27 years ago. 27 years ago, you were like, what are they going to do next? What's going to happen? Who's going to join the NWO? And here you're just like, it's Hall and Nash. It's Sting and Luger. This angle was very much about the development of the storyline. So detached from that storyline, it just stands on its own merits, and those merits are pretty minor in a match like this. Nick Patrick, the referee, gets knocked down, and he does a sort of possibly fast count, and that was part of the heel turn that he would do.
Of the ref, which you don't see very often back then, really.
No,
they're like unassailable kind of like authorities in the ring.
That's right, and they had him as the sort of NWO referee, but that was an angle that got old quick. It really did. Tony Schiavone does a mad line where he just goes, "School's almost back in, so that means fall's almost here." Aaron, when you think of fall, you think of fall brawl. And it doesn't lead to an advert. I really thought they were going to go fall brawl. No, not at all. It's just making chat.
Can you believe it? School is almost back in. And I'm sure the youngsters watching our telecast back home didn't like the sound of that, but it is. And that means that fall is almost here.
The Black Hills.
And the Black Hills in the background. And when you think of fall, you think of fall brawl and war games, the match beyond. Look at the golden sky. Would you please?
I mean, the Black Hills are not wrongly named because when that sun goes down, they are just
it's astonishing, isn't it? Yeah.
Against the sky. That was. It's funny watching WCW and going, I feel like I'm getting a real appreciation for this wonderful world.
It's like a karaoke background. You know, when you go and do karaoke,
Really
and they have those kind of like stock footage of different parts of America. Beautiful.
Oh my word.
Okay. There's no question that
break.
Wake up, Bobby.
Whoa.
Wake up. Whoa.
I think he must have had a couple of cups of whatever Gordon was mixing up. He's gone.